guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we will take a look at some new revenge content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, It's Delivery Monday. Hope you didn't have anything important to do. A handful of years back, I worked for a Rite Aid. Normally, they have big parking lots that are never full, but this one was different. It was in the heart of, oh God, I can't walk 5 feet without homeless people asking me for drug money. There was no parking other than paid spots anywhere close. There was an excessive amount of crime, drug use, fights, panhandling, etc. It was a very gross area to work, why I eventually quit, after too many times of having medical emergencies from people overdosing right outside our door, or knife wounds from fights, etc. Because of this, I always felt a little bad that the area right in front of the store was our loading zone. I always made sure to give people a heads up when I saw them parked there, if I knew trucks were coming. Lots of people did a fast in and out, never causing trouble. I get it, you don't want to pay parking and then walk through the gauntlet of gross. I really do get it. But then there was this lady, shall we call her Georgette? Georgette had a nice little white car. I'm not a car person, I just know it was really nice, kinda sporty. She always parked in the loading zone. I always warned her. She always responded to my warnings by being super rude. She always was in the store for a minimum of 30 minutes. She was always entitled at the register, the type to stomp her feet and whine if we would not take expired coupons or whatever. So, of course, she parks in her usual illegal spot bright and early one Monday morning. I inform her that we have 3 delivery trucks coming in less than an hour. She glares at me and goes off to do her shopping. Whatever, lady. So, delivery man number 1 arrives, the bread truck from the bakery. He double parks and comes in to ask me to get on the loudspeaker and ask her to move. I know from previous experience she will not respond. I tell him so. He shrugs and stays double parked. His truck is beside her car in the road, and starts unloading. Another truck arrives. This one is our cigarettes guy, plus a lot of other stuff. He parks behind her. Did I mention that this parking spot is one where the sidewalk is cut away, specifically for our deliveries? The sidewalk and a couple signposts and a streetlight were all in front of her car, so no going forward. Those signs? Yeah. They happen to be the big no parking between X and X hour signs. Lady comes up, pays, discovers that she is blocked in and the hissy fit begins. The bread delivery man informs her that he is almost done and will be moving in about 15 minutes. Not good enough, she screams, then gets on the phone to call the police. Like I said, crappy part of town, cops aren't going to come over what is clearly a Karen with a parking issue. Bread truck leaves. She has a chance to drive away. Nope, she is too busy screaming, demanding a manager, yelling at the other delivery guy, and so on. Completely misses that she could just shut up and drive away now. By the time we get her to shut the duck up and look and she starts walking towards her car to go, guess what? Delivery truck number 3 arrives. Smart man, sees the car with a truck right on its ass, and immediately knew what was going on. Proceeds to park next to her and block her in again. This guy was our grocery delivery man. Unloading his truck never took less than an hour. Georgette never parked there again. In fact, although I did leave about 3 months later, I don't recall seeing her again. I don't think she stopped coming in. There was nowhere else to shop in the area. I think she just avoided me because I laughed out loud. Next one is titled, Dealt with the car with constant car alarm. Years ago, I lived in an apartment that was pretty close to the street. In the summer, I'd leave my window open. I'd hear everything that'd go on outside, which wasn't a problem. Until this one car. This car that was parked on the street had the most sensitive car alarm. A garbage truck would drive by it, and the car alarm would go off. I think the owner didn't live close by, as it'd go off until the alarm would time out. Like 10 to 15 minutes. It'd go off very often for no reason, and it was really annoying. I called the police, but they didn't do anything about it in a big city. So I left a note or two on the owner's car to fix their alarm. Yet over weeks it persisted. It kept going off. I was really frustrated. So I deflated their tires. I think peas in valve caps and then put those valve caps on their tires and deflated them. All the tires were deflated. In my frustration, I thought it was a pretty non-destructive way to get their attention, as opposed to something like slashing their tires. It turns out it worked a little too well. A police car driving by saw that the tires were deflated and considered the car inoperable. They put a sticker on it saying they had 7 days to fix their car. The person didn't move their car in 7 days. I don't think they drove it often, and they towed it. Lol. But funny enough, when the car showed up parked on the street again, it didn't have the same alarm issues. Next one is titled, Racist and Aggressive Bully Gets Poison Ivy. When I was about 10 years old, we moved to Pennsylvania. I'm Mexican and still had some trouble with English but was like 99% fluent, just not enough to avoid this bully. He'd chase me around calling me beaner, wetback, and asking me if the Rio Grande is refreshing. After a discussion with my parents about it, they said it's just an insecure boy saying mean things his parents taught him, and to just ignore him. If he got physical, my dad told me not to do any of that, just tell the teacher, crap. He said, if that boy hits you, you hit back harder, you have my permission. After some more insults, he realized he wasn't getting a response like he wanted, so he decided to get physical. He shoved me and picked up a clump of poison ivy with his sweater. This wasn't a big deal because I was faster than him, but my best friend was not. He went after her, so I tackled him to the ground, his face landing on the very poison ivy he was holding. I straddled him and rubbed his face in it. He cried and never looked in my direction or laid a finger on me or my friend. It's been 18 years and I'm still not sorry. Next one is titled, Flashing lights tend to draw the eye, especially if they're dumb. I stopped at 7-Eleven for beverages before continuing to Domino's for some pizza. I had a mild case of hungry, but the hunger monkeys haven't emerged yet. My car is the sole vehicle in that part of the parking lot, and as I'm getting in I notice an SUV turning into the lot. I do the buckle up and start car dance and throw it in reverse, and there's a wild SUV parked 3 feet from my bumper. Stationary. Maybe they just didn't notice? I'll give 2 short toots. I think that's car speak for hey, I am a thing you need to acknowledge. SUV gives precisely 0 ducks about my 2 toots of the horn. I hate horn blow white people, so I'll go to some length to avoid inflicting proper beeps. I put my car in neutral and use the e-brake, and get out of my car and walk up to the SUV's passenger side. There's a wild younger Karen making upset wookie sounds into her phone, bawling her eyes out. I tap on the glass of the window, and she doesn't look, just holds up a finger with her index finger raised like, wait a minute. I do, for 45 seconds or so with no pause in the wookie sounds. I tap the glass again, and I get told to wait again. Okay Karen, I tried diplomacy. I get back into my car and just lay on the horn. This woman has the gall to actually get out of her vehicle and ask me what the duck my problem is. She is stationary in the transit lane of this parking lane. If I pull forward I'm going into a swamp and there's not enough room for any sort of alternative. I tell her to move her car, I'm trying to leave and you're in the way. Karen then rolls her eyes and says, and I quote, what the duck ever. And then doesn't completely clear the back of my car. I have to back out, drive past her, do a 3-point turn, and then drive past her again. If I turn the way I would to leave, I would hit her. I do so, and right when my car is pointed right at her still, presumably, making wookie sounds, I realize I'm going to need to draw the eye because she's not looking. Then I remembered that the dumb ones are drawn to bright lights, so I flash my high beams twice. Just to be sure. Right when I get a deer in headlights look I give her the 1-finger salute and then leave. The indignant squawk was audible outside her vehicle, and felt so good. Next one is titled, Pie in the Face or Dumped in the Toilet. I was a freshman in college and rooming among other freshmen in a fraternity. The fraternity was so wild that it was expelled from the campus that year. I nearly flunked out trying to pledge to that frat. But I digress. One of the guys I was not roommates with was quite the prankster. It started out with unscrewing the caps on the salt in the cafeteria, then drawing on someone's face while they passed out drunk. As enjoyed the occasional drink I would imbibe and pass out on my bed. Several times he would smash a pie in my face while I was passed out, put my drawers upside down, smear petroleum jelly, and other substances, on surfaces like a doorknob. Some guys tried one-upmanship with him but he kept raising the stakes. I was getting annoyed. I kept asking him to stop. But he didn't. He was famous for taking people's towels while they were in the shower. I could go on. One day I literally woke up as he was about to draw on my face thinking I was drunk, but I wasn't. That was the last straw. I came from an Irish family of 5 boys and I was the middle one. I was impervious to being ducked with, but it was getting inconvenient. And I was not about to walk around campus with something drawn on my face. One night after dinner he was in a stall taking a dump. He was in a stall that was adjacent to a shower stall. I walked in and realized it was him and I had an epiphany. I ran down the hall, dumped the garbage out of my trash can, mostly paper, ran back into the bathroom and filled up my trash can with water. It was really, really cold water. Very cold water. Can you see this coming? Well, a bunch of people did, and they started to gather in the bathroom. I had to tell them to be quiet, because no one outpranked the prankster. But I had not yet pulled any pranks. I just rolled with them. He was still sitting on the throne when I peeked over the edge, lifted the bucket over the top, aimed, and poured, not dumped, the ice-cold water on him as he sat there in his shirt and sweater, pants and undies pulled down around his ankles. He screamed and stood up immediately. Think about that for a minute, before cleaning up, and yelled, "Who the duck is that?" When he walked out of the stall no one was around. I moved out of that dorm about a month later and he had not found out. He had also stopped pranking people. I didn't really care if he found out it was me. I was ready for him at that point. Last one is titled, "Duck My Girlfriend?" Alright, let's destroy your social life. I was in a relationship with this girl. Let's call her Heather. I thought things were going great. I was happy and excited to be in a relationship. I had introduced her to my friends and lacrosse teammates. I'm a goalie and as such I was friends with the other goalie on the team. Let's call him Keith. After I had introduced Heather to Keith, seemed off. I wasn't sure what was going on but waved it off as me getting inside my own head. That was until I got a nude from her, but the texts that came with it were addressing Keith. To say I was mad was an understatement. The next practice I confronted him on it but he shrugged it off saying, "Not my fault, you're a lousy duck." I swear I heard something snap because the first thing I did was punch him in the head. The first hit knocked him to the ground and the next knocked his helmet off. These helmets weren't your standard hockey helmets. These were the kind of helmets you normally see hockey goalies wear that are easy to slide off. I kept punching him and blood was covering my knuckles when the other players pulled me off of him. This was the first time anyone on the team had seen this side of me. Normally I'd take any joke sent my way no problem and would shake off anything said. I cursed him out and publicly shamed him in front of the team. The rest of the guys stopped talking to him altogether and were disgusted with him. While he was nursing his concussion from his head making contact with the concrete floor, a few of the guys in the team helped blast his social media with what he had done. Quick work was also done to Heather. I looked them up a few hours ago and both their social lives have reached rock bottom. Keith has been kicked out of the house with his parents being ashamed of him, forcing him to live with his grandparents, while Heather has been unable to enter another relationship. Honestly, a bit of me feels bad. But then I remember what they did and I feel nothing but pride. Thanks for listening.